So with our handsome Mr. Z, I was going to see if we could work a little bit with some toys and see how he's been doing with take it and drop it, but then also working with toys for engagement and kind of building through other behaviors, because a lot of times you can use toys to motivate obviously your babes to focus more on you than the environment, and also to be a lovely reinforcement for any behaviors that you're trying to have happen again. So I know for some of the babes, some are super food driven, ready, find it, and then others are also immensely toy driven. So having a little bit of different items that you can rotate through reinforcement value for your pups will be really beneficial as you're building skill sets, building attention spans, and working on your, again, your everyday skill set. So for the handsome guy, we were playing earlier a little bit with the flirt pole. Ready? So again, take it. So what I want him to get in the habit of doing is obviously grabbing and biting of the item. So asking him to grab it. So I normally say take it. Everybody has different slogans for what they prefer to use with their dog. The main goal is, again, come up with a set that makes sense to you. When he goes to grab the item, again, the toy comes alive and we're playing. What I want him to be able to do is, once he's got a nice hold on it, is do a little bit of engagement where I make the toy come alive and I give a little bit of tug here and there, so it becomes more, again, fun from his perspective. Nice. So right here we're getting some nice little tugging going on. I might go from here, nice job, and go, ready, drop it. Yes. And I want to feed for the let go. If Mr. Z is going to get a little excited, I like to get him to go into like a little sit or check-in. Yes. Where I want him to, for example, put either all 4 feet on the floor, where he could be standing, or he could be sitting or downing. And then we can also get him to grab the toy and play. So again, right now we're kind of keeping it at the lower end of the spectrum. Ready? Drop. So if, let's say, he doesn't go to release and he gets a little excited, bring the item right to his little sniffer. Yes. Then again, we're going to see if we can get a little sit. If he's a little excited, I'm going to see if I can also do a little bit of where he can go and retrieve the item. So you can kind of rotate. So if your pups really enjoy going and grabbing an item, he's like, woohoo, you may find that a little bit of tug where they can also win the item, which is great. And then from there, work in between sort of retrieving the item, bringing it back to you, letting go, tugging for a little bit, and maybe even going and grabbing the item again and fetching the dog toy or whatever it might be. Ready? Zeus. So if, let's say, Zeusy, nice job, is very excited about this toy, I like to go into some nice little find it. So he comes nearby, I drop a nice little scatter feeding moment for him, get him to relinquish the item. Nice. I might even at times take a little break where I'm not going to go and do the tug, or I might not do the throwing, but I want him to start thinking that kind of hanging out with the item and myself also has value. So I'm feeding him a little bit throughout this where he's also keeping himself on the ground and starting to relax while the thing is also present. A lot of times for a lot of puppies, when they're dealing with adolescence, or even if they're like an adult dog too and they haven't really had much practice, you're going to end up having moments where the puppies become so over jazzed or over aroused that the thinking part of the brain kind of falls out, and then they might become more rambunctious and very mouthy. So the benefit of working this little on-off switch, ready, take it, is that you can build up for your puppy to get a little excited. Oh yeah, we're going to do lazy playing. That's very nice. So like roadkill. So he, for example, will have moments where the play gets him too jazzed. And that's where you want to practice on your level too, where you're building up play, as in sometimes getting a little excited and coming back from it. If it's always go, go, go until they finally run out of fuel, you may by accident be reinforcing a lot of sort of over arousal. And then your puppy, when they get excited, go right into the same pattern. So again, ready? Zeusy, we'll do a little find it. So I like to practice with my dogs is getting them a bit excited. Ready, take it. Getting them in the habit of grabbing, but then also knowing what it means to let go. So again, I might go, ready, drop it. Yes, good job. If he's a little bit slow, I'm going to just help him a little bit. Ready? So not slow as in not taking up the information and doing well. I mean, if let's say he doesn't quite grasp the concept, I'm going to help him. So again, we'll do a little sit. Nice. And then I might even give him a little tidbit for doing that gorgeous little sitting. And then we might go ahead and go, ready, take it. Nice. So you want to have a take it. You want to have an out or a drop. He's like, I'm going to use my feet too. So again, the toy comes alive. We're tugging. We're playing. Oh my goodness, what a good boy. So remember that tug does not create more aggression. If your dog has resource guarding issues, then of course practicing certain skills to help you overcome that difficulty with your dog can be a really great option. But tugging itself does not create aggression. So for example, tug toys are a great way to build up your babe's, ready, drop, your dog's ability to practice grabbing and letting go of something, sit. So that way you're also working with getting your puppy's natural dog instincts, take it, to want to bite things or tug on things or gnaw. And it's, again, a healthy outlet other than you or other doggy housemates or whatever it might be. What a good boy. So we can let him kind of earn the little tug toy. He can do a little bit of playing with it. What a smart man. And then from there, we could always do another little dropping of the item and play again. Ready, Zeus? So I might get his attention. Nice little check-in. Beautiful. Ready? We'll do a little find it. Ready? Nice job. So this is just like a bumper toy. There's all different brands. So I do find that toys with handles, nice job, can be a nice venue to practice because it allows you to have some distance between you and the bitey end for when he's learning how to work it. And you guys might be learning together. Nice job. Ready? So do a little find it. So what I want to do also is, remember how I mentioned toys can also be a great way to build value. So if we get some excitement, I'm just going to ignore, ready, with me. So if we're getting, oh my goodness, so much excitement. So notice how we have a little bit of over arousal and he's going to go for grabbing, right? Sit. Nice, thank you. There will be moments where your puppy gets really excited. I'm just going to plop it in my pocket just for a second and we'll use it throughout the practice. But I want to give him a little breather just for a second. So when your puppy goes from being able to hone in on the toy, but then they start to hone in on you by mistake, that typically means that the puppy is getting a little bit too excited, but they don't always know what's appropriate manners for like the mouth at times. So remember, for dogs, playing together involves using your body, your arms, your paws, also using your mouth for WrestleMania. So a lot of times as over arousal sometimes happens, and especially for adolescents, they may have gone from doing a really great job playing to now all of a sudden it went from playing with the toy and now you become the target. So I would recommend when he starts to get a little excited, go back into movement behaviors where he has to think about where he is going. But then also movement behaviors are great because it diffuses the energy off of you as the target to now following or chasing the toy or the food, for example, in this moment. Ready? Find it. Good job. So now let's say he's been doing a little bit better, getting a little bit softer and kind of calming down. We might go into a little bit, ready with me, a little bit of some focus on some loose leash walking, even though he has no gear on. But if we don't practice sometimes going from getting the revving of the engine to then trying to put the brakes on here and there, your puppy may never quite learn how to come back from that excitement spot. Nice. Good job. To my neighbors have a little bit more noises going on, which is fine, but it also means that every once in a while Mr. Z gets a little distracted by the sounds that are happening around the building. So we might go, Zeus, ready? Come. Nice. So you can also use your toys to motivate, for example, recalls, for practicing loose leash walking, and you could reinforce some lovely few steps with some play. And it's a great way to build up that drive, but have it be fun. Oh, there you go. Have it be fun to work those skills and to help the puppy find more value. Playtime might be part of it as well. So your pups will actually retain information better if there is play involved. So I do find that sometimes, even though training, we try to make it enriching and fun, there can be times where play is another great way to add that extra value. Nice job, Zeusy, right? Find it. Good job. So again, for right now, we're just doing the little exchange. Ready with me? So if, let's say he's gotten a little bit softer, but let's say he starts to do the jumping again. I'm going to see if I can get his attention. Ready, Zeus, with me? He's like, no, I'm exhausted. So with your babes, if you're finding there's certain moments where when you're trying something, sit, they start to give you a little bit of a harder time. So you can see he's getting a little bit tired. Remember that when your puppies are giving you a hard time, they're having a hard time. So if there's moments where you're seeing that popping, that mouthing, it could be a moment where, you know what, we did some really nice little play moments, but maybe we need to practice a little bit softness between them or give them little recesses between the excitement and the softness. Ready, Zeus? Because if, for example, Mr. Z finds playtime to be super exciting, this doesn't mean you want to do less play, but it means that we want to make sure the play is still structured where he is practicing or rehearsing the skills you want him. Oh, chewing is optional. Ready? Can you find it? Where you want him to be rehearsing the skills you'd like him to master. So if, let's say, during play we get a little too rowdy, and then that's how play tends to always happen, then that might be what he thinks play is supposed to look like. So just make sure that if, as he's sometimes going through those different developmental stages, if he's ever having a little bit of a tricky moment, just always think, what could I lower the criteria to, or what could we do instead to help the handsome guy simmer down a little bit? Nice. Good job. So he's doing a very nice job. So obviously he's a huge fan of the flirt pole. So now come the nicer weather, it might be one of those things where in the yard you might be able to get away with it if it's not too swampy. I know now as spring is on its way, we sometimes run into like the lovely squishy mud season. So obviously within your comfort range and your poor yard's capabilities. But for Mr. Z, working a bit with play to build up resilience when that brain does get a little excited and being able to come back from it is what you're hoping to gain through sometimes some play as well. Nice job, sir. So we'll do another little find it. We'll give Mr. Z a little breather from this one, and we'll go and work a few more skills. I want to see how he's progressing with maybe some of his stays on his little mat, and then also try a little bit more with the head collar like we did a little bit on Tuesday. So he's having a lovely little drink, and then we'll continue in just a moment.